Hello everyone, welcome back to the T.O.A Podcast. I am your host, Onvermel, here today with EK, the Ek, the Alpha Knight, the brother, the older, the host.
That's me.
As per usual. So, as I was mentioning to you before we started this podcast, there's something I recently realized about Bionicle, actually specifically about the Final Chronicle, that
What's
I don't know...
Final Chronicle again?
Manual Online Game 2. My apologies.
Okay, I know exactly when you Monog 2. Yes.
Monog 2, yes.
But what the F is the Final Chronicle?
It's a deep cut.
Now that you say that, I guess I can remember that this thing was called the Final Chronicle, which is silly. It's Monog 2.
It's just Monog 2. We all know that. And basically, I was doing perusing on Biosector 1, as I do from time to time. I think I was looking up, I was trying to see if Monog 2 had any sort of symbol for T.O.A I was trying to find Bionicle had any sort of symbol that represented T.O.A, and I couldn't find anything. Instead, I ended up looking pictures of Matoran, as one does. And I know recently, I think last Bionicle Day, they had gone the basically other Matoran, how they would look.
Yes, I remember that.
But apparently, I think from the same person, revealed the fact that, so the Tamatoran Neri in Monog 2 has a cow.
Yes.
And in the Pomatoran Kivi has a cow. That's both incorrect. He was saying that in the code they were supposed to have comows. And that the game file just goofed up, and because Hallie was supposed to be the only one with the cow, which makes sense why there wasn't that many of them. But basically, she was the only one. So Neri was supposed to have a comow, which is still different than he had in Metronui, but he was supposed to have a comow. So he was supposed to have a black comow, red body, black feet, and Kivi was supposed to have brown feet, tan body, brown comow. And I'm just sitting here going, that's doable in Tonga.
Yeah.
But good luck finding a brown comow.
Very hard indeed.
And so on BZ Power, or Biosector 1, if you go to their wiki page, they have now the proper masks in there as what their canon appearance is supposed to look like. Because
we always knew that the Monogs were only partially canon.
Let's be honest, the original Monog was canon until Greg said otherwise. Monog 2 probably was canon until Greg said otherwise.
Greg.
I mean, even probably once... I mean, let's be honest. I think their official canon is the books. And then, other media are all basically secondary. If they don't contradict, great. If they do, look at the books. Sort of idea. Now, and for the most part, what I also have figured, kind of was looking at is, for the most part, the consistency of canonicity amongst the different medias of Bionicle is actually pretty good. The comics don't really contradict the books too much, if really at all. The books don't really contradict the games that much. And the movies, for the most part, are just abridged versions of events.
Pretty much, yes.
But there's one exception to all this, and I may have said games, but I'm talking about the online games we're not. You look at the two big releases of Bionicle games, Bionicle the Game and Bionicle Heroes. Now, we've never played Bionicle Heroes, but I think anyone who has or knows it's not the most canon accurate.
Yeah.
And that's whatever, we haven't played it. But what you and me have played, all the way through, I'm pretty sure, is Bionicle the Game. I know I have, and I'm pretty sure you played through at least most of it.
I don't really recall myself playing it.
I know you got to a newest level. That much I remember. And
I played it once.
Basically, we finally got it to work, I think, on a couple of our laptops, and I know I completed it, and Zach apparently only got bid maybe to Kopakas, or I think he said just maybe Tahoos, or maybe he got to Liwa's. But Liwa's a much later one. But I kind of remember you. I just remember you doing a newest level. I just visualized you playing it, but I think that's where you stopped. And one thing about those games specifically is they are not canon accurate at all.
Not in the slightest.
You would look at the cover and think, oh, it's a video game version of The Mask of Light. No, it's not Mask of Light the video game. It's Bionicle the game. And you start out as the Tomata, you start out as Tahu. Then you go to Kopaka. Then you turn to Gallinuva. Then you go through the three other Tonua, Anua, Pohatu, and then Liwa. I think in that order. And then you go back to Tahu Nuva. I do believe you end on Tahu Nuva, if I'm correct, or you do Tahu Nuva, and then you do Taka Nuva. So you don't get everyone as a T.O.A. You might get Kopaka Nuva as well. Like, I think you might get everyone as a T.O.A Nuva. Because I think originally the idea was that, you were supposed to get all of them as T.O.A, and then you do them all as T.O.A Nuva. Like, I think it was supposed to expand to 3 years. But, of course, I think budget cuts, and early release and such, they didn't get close to that. But the thing is, if you play it, if you watch any of the cutscenes, especially them talking about the Borak or such, like, they are very, not very accurate in the slightest. One, you have Borak Hall, like, in one boss battle, I think you're fighting the Borak Hall right after you bunt the Borak, but, like, the storyline in the game kind of goes the same path as the canon story, but not even close. Which, for me...
It's like they're hitting the same destinations, but taking a completely different path to get there.
It's like someone was explained the first 3 years of Bionicle once, given some cliff notes, and then here, make a game about it. I mean, near the end, like with Takanu and Makuta, like, I think you get a little bit more consistency in the story, but again, it came out during that same time. And to me, this bothers me because, yes, I haven't played Bionicle Heroes, but the two Bionicle games to exist, both are very non-canon, and I'm like, Bionicle to me, and I think we mentioned this on the podcast, would work really well in the game sort of media. You have characters who have special abilities, like more than one. They got the mask ability and they got the elemental ability. So you got like power-ups, you got like, special moves, you got different environments, if you just go for Mananui only, like, you have a lot of different, like, rocky beats. Like, it just fits a video game aesthetic and sort of, like, mindset of a simpler story, but very visual story. Which I do think is where Bionicle, I think, does better than... And this is one reason why I think, to a lot of reasons for me, when it came down to world building and making sense in my head, that Bionicle, when it was visual, I didn't question much. You was like, there. But when you read the books, you have a lot of more of a... Wait, they have houses? Wait, so you're trying... What do they have in their houses? Did they keep, like, a wardrobe full of what?
Just hold on. Let me go play Monog and break into someone's house. Well, you've got a rock for a bed.
But because it's a video game, you don't question if things are sparse. It's the visual media. But, like, I remember reading the Metro Nui books and having this kind of thought, like, when they go to Leekon's house, I'm like, T.O.A don't have houses. You don't go to a T.O.A's house. That doesn't exist. Like, I just think the media of, like, descriptive... I mean, looking up the Bionicle books also aren't, like, they're not Lord of the Rings of in-depth descriptions, so it's not like you know everything, but it's like, it's just enough...
everything that was in Sam's pack.
It's like, you're trying to be descriptive about stuff that doesn't exist in our world. Like, that they're just so different. And so a visual media, you can't just negate a bunch of it. You just show stuff and it's like, oh, okay, whatever. It's there. Maybe that's just me. But the fact that I do think that it works best in video games, that the two video games we have, neither of them really got to use Bionicle to its full extent. Because I know in the original Bionicle game, Bionicle the game, you don't use mask powers for most of it. Like, the way that the levels are set up, you technically can. Because I think Tao does have a shield ability. Poatu does run, but he's more of a cart. He don't really use Poatu at all. And Nua definitely does not use his strength. Lewa, I think, can glide for a short bit, but that's more of a, kind of like a thing where you jump to grab a vine, move on to the next, sort of, rather than actually just free flying. Gally can swim, but she more has just a breathing bar. So it's like, you don't get to use any of their masks in any sort of, like, free form way.
Very unfortunate.
And as far as I'm aware, you don't get to use their elemental powers. They just have energy that they shoot.
Which, the budget was probably limiting a lot of it, what the developers could do.
Now, something like that might have been intended from day one, like the gameplay stuff. And the thing is, when you do have 6 different characters with all different abilities and such, you're going to have some major... it's going to make things more complicated. And it just really... And then it really annoys me because I'm like, I really just want a Bionicle game where you can just play a T.O.A, like be the T.O.A. And I know there's been fan games, especially I think Quest for the Masks, I think is the big one that was like I think mostly done. That's like really well made, or at least pretty well polished. I think it's Quest for a Mask. I'm not 100% sure because there was a point there was two of them going side by side. One that I did play a little bit in its early stages, and then there was another one that was like way more done and a lot more like polished off and had a bigger team working on it. I think that one surpassed the other one maybe, but I don't remember which name was which. So forgive me if I don't remember. And then Bionicle Heroes, this again, it's meant for the PlayStation. It's like for all the consoles: Xbox, PlayStation, PC, GameCube, like everything. And like the graphics are better. You got like this, but then you get every T.O.A. What do? Give him a gun.
Just give him a gun.
And it's like the story. It's like I would love just a 2006 story, but instead you get like Rudak, I think, as a boss fight in there somewhere. You get like I know Kreka's in there. I think. Like, for the most part, it's the 2006 stuff, but you get, like, some 2005 stuff bleeding in there. It's just, like, what do you... I still want to play it. I actually have a PlayStation 2 version of the game.
But you need a PlayStation 2.
And I'm very annoyed because my buddy, we have a friend who had a PlayStation 2, and he sold it, and my buddy knew about this, and knew he was selling this PlayStation, but completely forgot that I was looking for one. He's like, oh, yeah. Oops. I mean, yes, I could easily probably buy one if I want to.
I'm sure there's some on eBay.
It's not hard finding a PlayStation 2 game sold even on, like, the marketplace for Facebook. But it'd be easier if you knew someone who was, like, wanting to sell those just as a general thing. And so, I'm like, I look and I'm like, I just see Bionicle not having a proper, full video game release as a very disappointing, especially because Bionicle...
Many fans are like this, though. You're not alone.
No.
Hence why there's some fan-made games.
But it's like, I haven't heard people talk about it much, and it's like, for the most part, it's interesting, because Bionicle, or Lego games, as a broader stroke, people generally look as, as usually being really classics or whatnot. Like, people love the original, like,
Lego Star Wars,
Lego Lord of the Rings, Lego Indiana Jones. I know that one's, like, really popular. All the Lego games since those have been using the same template. And
of course, if you go really back, like Lego Island,
Lego Racers,
those were pretty popular back in the day.
And yet, Bionicle's in this middle where it's like, no one remembers that fondly. At all. You could say it was the most ambitious one that they wanted to do and then just didn't. And it's like the fact that Lego games usually have a pretty good reputation and been pretty highly received. That Bionicle is...
Some of the bigger ones don't have a great reputation, like Lego Universe, Lego Dimensions,
Lego Worlds.
Yeah,
basically, whenever Lego tries making big Lego games...
They tend to not do great.
I mean, Dimensions, I think, did decently well. But I think it had a shorter life, I think, than they may have hoped. But I think it did decent.
Like some of them that they did
Lego Worlds, they were trying to make like a Minecraft for Lego, and which is kind of ironic because Minecraft's already the video game version of Lego. At least something similar to that, and I don't think... I know I really wanted it at the time, but I'm looking, I'm like, no. And then Lego Universe. I remember that being... Like, they tried marketing that so much.
Big flop, I think, describes that one.
It was definitely their video game that was the biggest flop, I think. Like, even like the Bionicle games, despite you don't hear people talk about them, I guarantee you more people played them than Lego Universe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or more like Lego Universe had a very quick drop off from people who, like, I think they had low, like, early sales and then they didn't retain players at all.
Yeah.
It's like when Lego, but again, that and Dimensions and I think all three, and even Lego Worlds, I think all of them were meant to be like multiplayer to some degree. Like, at least I know Lego Universe was meant to be like 4-player multiplayer sort of, or 4-player split screen, like, play with your friends, save the universe. Yeah. Aesthetically, it looks a lot like Ninjago now. At least in certain things. Yeah, so it's like, I'm kind of sad that Bionicle never even got like a nice. It's like they either had tried going for like the big games, or web games, nothing in between. And don't get me wrong though, the web games for anything Bionicle.
They were very good.
Well, it's like, of course the Minogs, everyone remembers those. The Voinui online game, that one was really good. And even like a bunch of the other smaller games like Web of Shadows or any of those other like small like ones, like no one has any issues with anything that's like
Those Fantoka ones, little ones.
a lot of mini games are fun, like because any like online like mini games feel fun. I think the only really online one that might have had a lower quality that people didn't really like was like a Clitorian Arena Fighter.
Yeah.
I remember getting into that near the end of the life cycle and actually beginning to enjoy it a fair bit. But I wasn't very good at it.
No, you
I grounded away with Malum. He was very effective. It's like, yeah, the Bionicle video games. It's a little. I know back in the day we've had discussions of basically if Bionicle came back in any sort of medium or anything.
It should just come back as a video game.
Like just a video game property, like it would fit in there much better than like. And I think just the type of story it has, like as much as I would love to see like a Bionicle TV show, I think Bionicle works best when you don't go into too much detail about specifics or nitty gritties. And so I think a video game just is
action with some plot.
Plot that goes from action to action. So like like unless you make
exploring an island.
So a semi-open world campaign sort of.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know there's a definite cry for people wanting to have an open world Bionicle game.
Yeah, definitely be specifically open world Nui game.
I think an open world Metro Nui would be pretty cool too.
I mean, I would love to see an open world Metro Nui. Honestly, just Metro Nui in general, I was just like, I'm kind of sad that it never got around to getting its game made because I know there was plans to be a Metro Nui game that there was like didn't get very far off the ground. I think there's like you can get like I think people got like the release of like the first like tutorial level with like T.O.A, I think in the Great Temple, I think that's like it. That people managed, I think, get like the coding for that, but that was like it. And it's like it's a little sad. I don't know. For me, it's just like especially because like as someone who has my only way playing games is the PlayStation 4. I do have a laptop, but it's not going to be running any games. Let me tell you, it's not going to be running any games right now.
Nope.
And even then, laptops and games are dubious.
If you're a serious gamer, you don't use a laptop. Even if you're a moderately serious one, you don't use a laptop.
It's like if you're just going to play on Steam, a laptop works fine for a lot of stuff. If you're not going for anything like with too high graphics or anything like that, like you want to play Minecraft, laptop is perfectly fine.
Yep.
But not everything is Minecraft. Surprisingly, some people may think not everything is Minecraft. A lot of things are made out of blocks. Don't get me wrong with that. Like we Lego fans, we believe in everything.
I understand this block thing. Pretty good.
Our blocks usually come in more shapes than just blocks, but
they're not very square anymore. Let's put it that way.
No, I mean this is also talking about Bionicle podcast where the Lego bricks during the Bionicle phase really were not that square. In fact, trying to find anything square in Bionicle is kind of difficult sometimes. And the T.O.A bodies were decently square, but like
square-ish, but we don't call them square at all. T.O.A body, that's about as square as it gets.
And compared to regular Lego, that's not that square.
Yeah, the T.O.A are really probably the most square Bionicles you could think of.
They also got quite the dump truck going on back there. They got really weird.
The Rahaga, they're just like 4 limbs and a head with a ripcord holding it all together.
The Boardvar are actually just hunched over goblin little creatures.
They're basically just T.O.A, but less square looking, if you ask me.
Yeah. But, how did I... Oh, right, because I was mentioning that gap. The right thing. This is what I was going to say. Because with having only PlayStation 4, there's no way you can play any Bionicle games on that.
Nope.
And with Bionicle being a dead franchise, they're never going to, like, remaster, re-release or anything. Because, like, I think Bionicle 1 was released for the PlayStation 1. And Bionicle Heroes, I think, was for the PlayStation 2. But I don't think it's the PlayStation 3. I think it was just for the PlayStation 2. And possibly the PlayStation 1 as well. At that point, depending what lifespan of the PlayStation 2 came out with. But I think it was PlayStation 1 for the first, PlayStation 2 for the second. I could be something like that. Which is 2 generations ago. Now, don't get me wrong, like, a lot of times, from 3 to 4, 4 to 5, you can sometimes, get games. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy that lately PlayStation I've been getting more options to play Star Wars games from, my childhood, like Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast. They have the original Dark Forces on there.
The original one now, huh?
Remastered. Kind of like $20 or something, or $30, so I'll wait until it gets a good sale. This is not Dark Forces 2.
No, this is Dark Forces, yes.
Which
played
means...
it once, but I don't think I even got to the end.
You actually get lives, not, It's punishing, is what I've heard.
I just remember is that you couldn't look up.
Yeah.
The graphics were weird.
What makes me happy about that is that they've done Dark Forces. They've remastered, I think, the pod racing game, obviously the ones, Jedi Outcast and such. I'm like, okay, they've done Dark Forces. Dark Forces 2 has to be next, right?
Yes.
And, there's no way they're not doing Dark Forces 2 if they've done the first Dark Forces.
Dark Forces 2 was wildly more popular. It was very popular.
Now, the first Dark Forces is a lot smaller of a game.
Yes.
So it's probably a lot easier for them to do that. And they've also
Dark Forces 2 was the first Star Wars
also they've
game
also
with
I think
lightsaber
remastered the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2, the original 2 ones.
Yes.
Not the ones I played with PlayStation. I mean the original ones. So
I know what
those you can do as well. So I'm like Dark Forces 2, please. You've done every other game I want to play. Commandos are on there now. Or I think they've been on there for a while. Pretty much any Star Wars game I know Force Unleashed is on the PlayStation 4 released under premium. Pretty much any Star Wars game, the big ones you'd want to play is on there, except right now Dark Forces 2.
Someday. Perhaps someday soon.
And this is the reality. I can get excited for remasters of Star Wars, but not for Bionicle.
Nope.
Which, don't get me wrong, as a Star Wars fan, this is fine.
Like,
this makes me happy. Oh yeah, there's a new Bad Batch episode today.
Yeah. That
makes me happy. I hope. It might make me sad. The last 2 episodes made me kind of a little sad. Yeah. Interesting fact, though, for those listening, if anyone's listening, by the time this podcast comes out, we will be, hopefully, in Vancouver. Well, okay, by the time this releases, we'll be on our way to Vancouver for BrickCan, which we will be there, all 3 of us. I know we said that last time, and probably most people listening to this podcast probably was not, but if you haven't, that's going to happen, so because that's April 20th and 21st. BrickCan, Vancouver, Canada, BC.
That's
Canada.
the place.
That is the place. But where exactly? Don't know. I'm not the navigator.
It's the River Rock Casino.
Waste your money. Guard, people lose your money and then come look at Lego after to make you feel good.
Or look at the Lego first, then lose your money.
No. I mean, yeah, you're going to lose your money if you go look at the Lego.
You might not even get to the casino.
Yeah, we got a lot of vendors. That'll be fun. I'm actually really just going to be interested to see how this goes because, like I said, I've been to BrickCon 5-ish times.
A few times now.
So this is really the only other large convention I'm going to be into. The only other, I've been to our local one that we have down in Calgary.
It's growing. It's still small, but it's growing.
And I've only been there 2 times. The first one, which was tiny, and then this last one,
which was still tiny.
But it was bigger than last time.
It's growing.
Ever so slowly.
And let me tell you, there's some growing pains.
Well, yes, you're the poor unfortunate guy who has to deal with that, Mr. Vice President.
Yes, I'm Vice President of my luck, and it doesn't require doing a lot most of the time, but lately there's just been a lot of...
Ironically, the part with the LEGO user group that we're part of, despite you, me, and Zach all being part of it, and we even have another person there who is a Bionicle, he's getting back into it. We don't get no respect as Bionicle builders. You build a I mean, if you build there's only 3.5 feet, people will be impressed, but that's about it, and they won't say anything else. Brick Can. I'm hoping that, as you said, there's at least one guy there who's
There, by the sounds of it, there's still one or two guys there who hold down the Bionicle.
So don't worry,
fort.
we're bringing probably about, I think, collectively around 60 mocks for Bionicle. I think 20 each is kind of roughly.
I have 19 registered.
I think I had 18.
Zach has, we'll say it's 15, so we'll just round it
45?
off about 70 total.
70?
70? No.
45, it'd be closer.
2, 4, no, it'd be
55.
like 50. 50.
We're bad at math right now, okay?
Late.
We've had to deal with too many numbers earlier today.
A lot of numbers.
It is a lot of numbers. This is also this was day 5 for me on a 7-day stretch of work, so remembering stuff is debatable at times. And it's also like almost 8 o'clock. It's
just after 8.
Just after 8. After 8, yeah.
We'll let you viewers guess whether it's AM or PM.
We'll never tell. I'm sure you can figure it out. But yeah, Bionicle games are honestly, actually just think about it. Even if you take out Monog 2 being a grind fest, really, Monog 1 is really the only good Bionicle game.
It's the only great.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of the smaller Nintendo or random other stuff.
Another tier list right there. Bionicle games.
One we have almost no experience in.
Yeah, we might have to actually play them first.
We do have planned to do a tier list here to look at all the Kanoe designs.
Actually, I'm going to record one this weekend.
Yeah, so hopefully that one will be out probably in a few weeks from when this comes out, hopefully, depending how much energy and time I have to actually edit that one. But you got something to look forward to that isn't just a short order us talking, so well done. Anywho, I think my brother is about here to fall asleep, so... And I also didn't have as much to say. I had enough to say.
You always have lots to say.
Usually. Sometimes I have a lot of ums in there.
There's still a lot to say. It's just the same word over and over again.
Fair point.
You're still saying it.
So, I guess everyone, thanks for listening. I have been your host, Onvermel. This has been the T.O.A Podcast, and we're retiring from the night.